Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, we've got a seriously fascinating concept to unpack today, so let's just dive right in. I want you to imagine two different people. They walk into the exact same bank on the exact same day, and they both walk out having borrowed exactly $500,000. Now, fast forward a few years. One of these individuals is completely drowning in debt. I mean, barely keeping their head above water. But the other one? They've actually become a millionaire.
So, what happened? It was the exact same amount, from the exact same bank, but the outcome couldn't be more different. The difference here isn't about how much money they borrowed, no, it's entirely about what they actually used that money for. See, most of us are taught to avoid debt like the plague, right? But today, we're going to explore how many of the world's wealthiest people use debt as literally one of their most powerful financial tools.
Section 1. The biggest lie about debt.
Debt is bad. We've all heard it. It is drilled into our heads from the time we're kids getting our first piggy bank. But here's the thing. The wealthy, they completely ignore this. And why is that? Because debt itself isn't inherently good or evil.
Think about a hammer for a second. A hammer is just a tool, right? Put it in the hands of a skilled carpenter, and it can build a gorgeous house. But, swing it wildly, and it's going to shatter a window. Money, and specifically debt, works the exact same way. It is just a neutral financial tool.
Because it's just a tool, wealthy people ask one very specific, absolutely crucial question before they borrow a single cent. Will this debt make me more money than it costs? That is the ultimate filter. If the answer is yes, they're probably going to consider it. If it's no, they walk away. It really is that simple.
Section 2. Bad debt versus good debt. Okay, first up is bad debt. This is the stuff that buys things that lose value the literal second you take them home. We're talking about expensive sports cars, the latest luxury gadgets, designer clothes, crazy vacations, and definitely those high-interest credit card shopping sprees. These purchases do not generate a single dime of income for you. They buy liabilities. But here's the catch. The bank still wants its money, usually with steep interest, and that quietly drains your wealth every single month.
Now, contrast that with good debt. Good debt is a whole different ballgame because it's used intentionally to purchase assets, things that actually go up in value or generate cash flow for you. So rental properties, scaling a business, buying productive equipment, or even getting an education that significantly boosts your earning potential. The wealthy focus relentlessly on buying assets over liabilities.
Let's play this out. Imagine two people who each borrow $300,000. Person A goes out and buys a luxury sports car. Person B buys an income-producing rental property. Fast forward just 5 years. That sports car? Yeah, it's worth a fraction of what they paid for it. But person B's property, assuming it appreciates and the rent covers the mortgage, that asset is actively building wealth for them while they literally sleep.
Section 3. The power of leverage.
Leverage. This is it. This is the core wealth secret that truly separates the rich from everyday borrowers. In finance, leverage simply means using borrowed money to control a much, much larger investment. Think of it physically. It's like using a small lever to move a massive boulder. Your down payment is that small lever, and the bank's money is the heavy force moving the boulder for you.
Let's put some real numbers to this so you can see it in action. Say you find a valuable piece of real estate, and the total purchase price is exactly $500,000.
Now, instead of paying that entire $500,000 in cash, someone using leverage might only put down $100,000 and finance the rest. Here is where the magic happens. If that property goes up in value, your gain is earned on the entire $500,000 property, not just your $100,000 down payment. You are controlling a massive asset with just a fraction of your own cash.
And hey, real estate isn't the only place we see this happening. So many incredibly successful businesses got off the ground using borrowed money. An owner might borrow to open new locations, buy heavy equipment, hire a bigger team, or hugely increase their inventory. The whole goal, the big bet they're making, is that the new profits from this expansion will completely dwarf the cost of the loan itself. Wealthy individuals also use leverage in their broader, everyday wealth strategies. A lot of investors prefer to never sell the investments they want to keep growing, so instead they borrow cash using their portfolios as collateral. This lets them get liquid cash immediately while still keeping their appreciating assets. Plus, selling investments usually triggers massive tax bills, right? By borrowing instead, they strategically delay those taxes. Now, tax rules vary, and they are incredibly complex, so the wealthy always have professionals handle this part, but the underlying strategy is pure leverage.
Section 4. The risks of borrowing.
Okay, let's take a breath here, because as exciting as building wealth is, we absolutely have to talk about the dangers. Here is the grounding truth you can never forget. Debt is never free money. You always owe the lender. If your investments tank, if a tenant suddenly stops paying rent, if interest rates skyrocket, or if your business hits a wall, that financial pressure is absolute. The bank does not care. They still expect their check every single month.
Remember, leverage is a massive double-edged sword. Yes, it accelerates your potential gains, but equally true, it massively accelerates your potential losses. If prices drop, an investment that's fully backed by leverage can wipe you out just as fast as it built your net worth. This strategy is intense, and falling asset values can create severe financial pressure if you aren't ready for it.
So how do wealthy borrowers actually protect themselves from those accelerated losses? Through incredibly strict risk mitigation. They keep heavy cash reserves on hand to weather the bad storms. They diversify their investments so one single failure doesn't ruin the whole portfolio. And crucially, they carefully evaluate their cash flow. And they literally never borrow beyond what they can actually manage if things go completely sideways.
Section 5. Lessons anyone can apply.
Look, you do not need to be a millionaire to start using this exact mindset. Before you ever take on new debt, just run it through this quick mental checklist. Number 1, will this actually help me earn more? 2, am I buying an asset or just a liability? 3, can I comfortably make these payments? 4, what exactly is my backup plan if this whole thing fails? And 5, do the potential benefits truly outweigh the risks? Thinking this way forces you to be intentional with every single financial move you make.
Which brings us to the core takeaway of this entire explainer. The biggest difference here isn't that wealthy people borrow more money. It's that they borrow with a definitive, crystal-clear purpose to acquire assets, invest in opportunities, or grow their businesses, all while carefully weighing the risks. Debt doesn't create wealth on its own. The decisions you make after you sign that loan agreement are what actually matter.
So I want to leave you with one final provocative question to chew on today. Are you borrowing to consume, or are you borrowing to grow? Honestly, asking that changes how you look at every single dollar. Well, if you found this explainer helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and definitely share this with someone who wants to get a little smarter with their money. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next one.